in the truck going around in practice. And here's the 33 of Braden Mitchell as well. Logan Seavey, the USAC National Series midget points leader. First time in a truck going around in the dirt trying to find the limits. On board here with Ryan Newman. Ran third here in the inaugural Dirt Derby. Back in the truck for Jordan Anderson. How about Stuart Friesen? A little harder hit for the guy that many consider to be the favorite to win the race later tonight. And in that final practice last night, John Provenzano in the 0-3 going sideways. So everybody just getting a little taste of it last night with a couple of practice sessions, finding their limit. Nice sessions for Myatt Snyder, who topped the speed chart in that first session. And you see all the top speeds came from session number 1 with last year's winner, Matt Crafton, 5th fastest. Let's check in with some of our drivers who are getting ready for qualifying, and we'll go downstairs and join Hermie Sadler.
Well, thank you, Vince. You can ask anybody in this garage, give me your 2 or 3 favorites for tonight's race, and this guy, Stuart Friesen's in everybody's top 2, top 3 favorites. Do you like that kind of pressure?
Well, there's certainly a lot of hype behind us this year. We got a good race car. Helmar guys put a lot into this, and GMS Fabshot built us a pretty cool dirt truck. So we'll see what we got. You know, we made a lot of adjustments in practice yesterday, and we'll see.
I've had the opportunity to see you be crushed by second place finishes this year. That's the heart of a racer. How disappointed would you be tonight if you didn't get that checkered flag?
Well, it's hard to say. You know, there's a lot that can happen tonight. It's tough to win races no matter what level. You know, we'll just put our best foot forward and, you know, our best effort. And, you know, if everybody does their jobs and we don't make any mistakes, you know, we'll have as good a shot as anybody.
You're watching practice or hot laps on the track right now. You go out 20 seconds. So what do you feel about your draw and for qualifying and how that may affect where you line up for your qualifying race?
Well, I'm not super happy about going that deep, but it is what it is. We'll make the best of it, and you know, if we got to pass some cars in the heat race, that's what we'll work on doing. That's
Stuart Friesen, and while we got it down here, I'm going to try to walk over and catch another driver, Logan Seavey. Tyler Dipple in the 17. We'll catch him. Tyler, you go out early in the qualifying session. Stuart Friesen just said the earlier the better. So what's going to be key for you as a driver to take advantage of an early draw?
You know, just maximize the grip out there. You know, like Stu said, the earlier the better. You know, we're going to have more grip out there. Just going to have to go out there and pound the boards down.
These guys really envious, Vince, of the drivers going out in the top 4 or 5 trucks. They think they'll have a tremendous advantage in qualifying.
Well, we've seen that from time to time, whether it's depending on how the track happens to be. It's an advantage to go out early, maybe an advantage to go out late. Friesen was the pole winner a year ago. Who's going to win pole for Dirt Derby number 6? The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series on dirt, one of America's iconic racetracks. This is Eldora. 18 rookies here tonight, some guys that we call dirt bringers, different agendas, but everybody with the same goal. They want to win the race.
Right now, we are seeing the rite of passage in dirt racing, the 4 wide salute to our racing fans as they come through turn number 3 and 4.
32 trucks, the Dirt Derby at Eldora is green. Look at that view. How do you possibly find your way with that window? And the yellow is out.
That's Pierce's second spin of the day. A lot of damage when he spun in a heat race. Oh, he got to the bottom, and Ben Rhodes was there. They make contact.
Now Friesen comes right back on the top side. Christopher Bell going sideways and getting around.
Can't get any rhythm going on our races tonight. Guys are losing control of their trucks and causing some major pileups.
Caution is out.
That 27 truck is done. Matt Crafton's trying to turn around a dismal season, and he's charging to the front.
It's been more than a year since he's last won, and now with 16 to go, he's out front at Eldora. No one is going to challenge Matt Crafton. The winless streak is over. It's been 27 races, and tonight he will go to victory lane, winning at the Big E. He did it. Matt Crafton wins at Eldora. Crafton was celebrating a year ago. Who's it going to be later tonight here at Eldora? One thing's for sure, no matter what type of vehicle seems to race here, it's always a good show at the Big E. One of the most memorable nights for fans who come to Eldora back in 2011, the USAC Four Crown Nationals. That's where they run the midgets, the sprints, and the Silver Crown. Who could possibly win them all? Well, Kyle Larson won that night in the midget, then came right back in the sprint car for Hoffman and got it done again. And then in the Silver Crown, took Keith Coons 71 to the winner's circle. Won them all, swept the three. Such an impressive performance that even Tony Stewart gave him a big bonus alongside those winner checks. And happy to have Michael Waltrip and, of course, Kyle Larson with us today and on through the evening here at Eldora. What did that day do for your career, winning the Four Crown back in 2011?
You know, it really kick-started my career. You know, that was 2011. I just moved to Indiana. Really hadn't made a name for myself yet. Before I came to Eldora, my first trip here, was able to win all three. And I remember later that weekend, I had guys like Jeff Gordon and Tony Stewart and Casey Kane kind of talking about me on TV a lot. So that meant a lot to me, and it got my name out there for car owners to recognize me. I got picked up by Chip Ganassi just a couple months later. So this place can do some big things for drivers, and it really helped me.
Of course, you've won here in the truck as well. So how about the challenge that these guys are dealing with here in qualifying coming up?
Well, yeah, it's pretty slick out here at Eldora. So I think going out early is going to be major. The track it's got some grip. It's going to get dusty at times, and then I think it might clean off actually, and those later guys could potentially go fast as well.
Kyle, I've learned so much from you today already talking about dirt and how you drivers study what that dirt is doing and how that affects what the truck does. Why is going out early better in this session?
Well, if you look at the track, it's just really slick. It's already been blowing dust, so the earlier draw is always better. So those guys that are going out earlier are really excited, because it sets their night up. If they can put a good lap together and qualify up front, start up front of the heat race, put a good heat race together, and then start up front for the 150 laps. It's very important. So qualifying is a big deal.
There's a lot of pressure on these drivers, and if you try to push it a little bit harder in dirt, you can get into that outside wall, so they'll have to manage that as well.
Yeah, Eldora, the wall is known to reach out and grab you, and as it gets slicker, they're going to be inching their way up to the top, and you'll see them dragging the quarter panels off of these trucks. So I'm excited about it. Qualifying is always fun here at Eldora.
Hey, and by the way, congratulations. You won the World of Outlaws race last night at Lernerville, pocketed $25,000 for that. So first round of pizza burgers on you tonight.
Yeah, that's my biggest paying sprint car race I've ever won. So we'll get some pizza burgers up here.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of winners, we got another one downstairs on pit road, and he's the two-time Chili Bowl champ. That's in the second car, Christopher Bell. Unfortunately, that's Kyle Larson blowing up at the Chili Bowl, and boy, that was going to be a heck of a showdown between those two. Larson went to the pits, and Bell went to victory lane. The kid from Oklahoma winning at Tulsa for the second time, the two-time Golden Driller winner, Christopher Bell. And so good to have him downstairs roaming the pit area for us tonight. And how's it feel to not have a wheel in your hand and be down there at Eldora?
Well, thanks, Vince. It's a little bit weird, I'll be honest. It's a different feel down here. I'm watching all the drivers walk around, and they're all a little bit nervous before they're hopping in their trucks here to qualify at Eldora. But I'm thrilled to be here, and I'm honored that I'm on the broadcast with you guys.
Well, we're looking forward to hearing your insight, Christopher, what's going on down there. But who do you think's got a tougher job? You down there with Wallace and Hermie, or poor Larson up here between me and Vince?
I think Larson's got the tougher one. I'll take my breaks whenever I can get them here.
Rose between two thorns, I think.
I just got off the racetrack, and it's really blotchy. Like Kyle said, it's slippery on the bottom. You and Kyle Larson are famous for searching the high groove, taking the right rear tire, rubbing it around the wall. Here we are. I was running the middle. What would you do, Christopher, if you're going to go out right now? Do you cheat the truck, and do you go to the cushion, go to the moisture? Right now, what would you do as a driver? What line would you choose?
Well, standing down here on pit road, you can see turn 1 and 2 over there. Turns 1 looks like it's got a lot of meat left on it, so I think the top will be
meat. That's
meat.
A term.
That's right.
Lingo. That means grip.
So I think turn 1 looks pretty good up on the top, but if we look over here to turn number 4, it looks a little bit dustier. There's not as much color change in between where everybody's been running in the wall. So probably a little bit lower in 3 and 4, but definitely get up in it in turn 1.
Everybody says to me, what's the difference between asphalt at Kentucky last week or this week? And I always say that dirt racing gives you options. Do you find that in dirt racing that if you're not doing good here, you change grooves?
Yeah, I mean, it all depends on track conditions, right? You go to a place like Chicago and you got plenty of options, but I think we'll have a really good surface today. Tony does a great job at working really hard to give us multiple grooves, and that's why we love Eldora.
We do indeed. And speaking of Tony, the boss, Tony Stewart, making sure everything's ready to go for qualifying for the trucks next. Back at Eldora, NASCAR Camping World Truck Series qualifying on the half-mile dirt track. Fans in the stands and also bringing the lawn chairs, sitting on the hill. 39 trucks for 32 spots. Here's John Provenzano in the 0-3, the first one out. 63 years old. An accomplished dirt racer.
Yeah, he's from Hinckley, Illinois, Vince. And yesterday I was talking to him. He said, this might be my last big hurrah. He said, I think we got to try. Oh, he's going to spin, unfortunately. That tells you when we talked earlier about the pressure to do well on the dirt. And if you push it any too hard at all, that can happen to you. But John thinks maybe this might be his last opportunity to run a NASCAR race. And he's really happy about it.
Smart call here, too, driving around, going the wrong way here to get a better run to the white flag to give him one opportunity at a good lap.
Explain that, because some may be wondering, well, why is he going backwards?
Well, he spun out off of turn number 4. So, if he was to get pointed there and run to the green flag or, his white flag, he's not going to have as much momentum now as what he's going to have getting some speed up on entry 3. So we'll see what he can run here for his second lap.
Yeah, you get 2 laps, so it's your top speed, and there he gets the white flag. So your top speed out of the 2 laps will be your actual qualifying time.
Now, Kyle, when we go to Chicago and Kentucky, some of the great places you've been lately, we talk a lot about aero platform. How would you describe John's aero platform right now?
Well, if we were at any of those racetracks, the aero platform would not be very good. But here at Eldora, it's slick. They're trying to get some weight rocked back to the rear tires there to get some rear traction. I'm interested to see once we get some better trucks out here to see what their kind of platform looks like. But like I said, Eldora is so slick. You see these guys do some funky things with their setups.
Stuart Friesen, the pole winner last year with a 20 flat. As you look at our Dirt Derby qualifying procedures and also how we set the field. So single truck qualifying, which is what we've got now, they'll all run 2 laps, and that will determine the starting positions for the qualifying races. We'll have 5 qualifying races. The top 5 from each qualifying race will transfer to the feature tonight, our 150 miler. And then we'll also have a last chance race. The top 2 finishers automatically transfer, and then the rest will go according to owner points and our provisionals. Well, look at the 99 of Sheldon Creed.
Oh, already nicking the wall there in 3 and 4.
Yeah, and you asked for it. This is going to be one of our better trucks, I think, tonight, Kyle. And you can see the left front was way up on Little John's truck, the 03. This seems to be just more up across the whole front.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see kind of how this lap is. I don't know if the top scared him there and he's back down to the bottom. There's some decent moisture, it looks like, there in 3 and 4, but the top 1 and 2 to me seems like it might be a little bit better to carry some momentum up there.
Creed is the ARCA points leader. Ran here at Eldora last year, finished 27th. Kenny?
I am here with one of the greats. Chris Windham already won a non-wing sprint car race here with USAC. Chris, do you have a plan, or are you just going to go where you think you need to go?
I think I got a little bit of a plan here, but track's pretty slick right now early, so hopefully this going out early pays off to qualify. I know these DGR Crosley guys have brought us a good truck, and I just got to go out here and do my job for 2 laps.
All right, he's focused. I'm getting out of here, guys.
The 51 of Logan Seavey on track. Is a young man you're familiar with, Kyle.
Yeah, I've actually I grew up with Logan racing outlaw karts in California. He lives in Sutter, California. I'm from Elk Grove, so we grew up racing there at Cycling and Red Bluff together. He's an amazing race car driver. He's part of the Keith Coon stable there in the midgets, so really anxious to see how he runs here. He looks pretty loose in qualifying. Running the middle there in 3 and 4. We'll see what he does here 1 and 2. To the pole with a 20.75, so really good lap.
And we talked earlier at the start whether it would be a trucker getting used to the dirt or a dirt racer trying to figure out how to drive these trucks. This is a great example of that because Logan's never been in one of these trucks. He's got a great Kyle Busch Motorsports Toyota, and he's doing a nice job. So we'll have to see those comparisons throughout the night.
Yeah, and you know, Logan, he's got a good background of racing a lot of different types of race cars, you know, starting from outlaw cars. He's got experience of wing sprint cars, midgets. So although he might be young, he's got a lot of experience, and I think he'll be able to adapt quickly to these trucks.
Fastest so far of the 3 to have gone. Hermie?
Think about how much fun Ty Dillon had yesterday. You start your day in Charlotte, Roval testing. You end your day at Eldora on the dirt. How much fun was that for you yesterday?
I had a blast and was smiling all day. I actually wore my driving suit to the airplane, got here. My dad and my spotter, Billy O, and I, we flew over here pretty quick, and then my dad may or may not have been running the speed limit on the way here. And we got here, we've been having fun on the dirt. We go out a little late here for qualifying. The track's probably going to get away from us by the time we go, but we're going to have some fun tonight. My crew chief, that is crew chief in this truck for Young Motorsports, Buddy Sisko's in the hospital. So we're kind of winging it a little bit without him and hoping he's going to feel better and get back to shop good.
Buddy Sisko, get well soon. Vince?
Yeah, good to see Ty here. Of course, his brother Austin, the winner of the inaugural Dirt Derby. Here's Tyler Dipple in the 17. We just heard from Chris Wyndham a few moments ago. This is Wyndham's teammate at DGR Crossley.
Hanging it out on that outside wall. We saw him bounce off of that.
3 and 4 is just going to get trickier and trickier. It's they're all searching for that brown dirt up there, but it's going away quick. You know, he was already bouncing the right side off the wall, so it's gonna get trickier, and we're gonna see some right sides clear off these things, I think, by the end of it.
Check in with Christopher Bell.
Well, guys, I'm down here with a guy who doesn't have a bunch of dirt experience, Dalton Sargent. Dalton, what are your expectations here going into this qualifying session?
I don't know. To be honest, I'm a little nervous right now. First time driving a truck on dirt, so don't really know what to expect. Don't have very much experience at all on the dirt, but hopefully I'll just be able to figure it out as the night goes.
Well, hopefully you have some fun out there. Good luck today. Back to you guys.
How difficult that must be for a driver that has no experience and no real expectations, or maybe even no understanding of what might be coming as you look at the 83. I think one of the real interesting stories here this year, Nick Hoffman driving for the Mittler brothers.
Nick's got a bunch of talent here. He's dominated modifieds, the last couple of years, and now getting a lot of experience in the late models on dirt. So he's got the experience when it comes to driving as well as setting these things up. So look for him, later in the race tonight to have the setup to be there at the end.
He set up the truck for Matt Crafton last year in the win.
I did not know that. That's really cool.
Check him out in slow motion. And Kyle, as not much of a dirt racer myself, he looks really loose to me. And I know they're all going to be sideways, but it looked like that truck had a little bit more skew in it than the rest.
Yeah, he was definitely loose there through, I think that was 1 and 2. Actually picked the left front up off the ground, which was something that I have yet to see since Bloomquist came here the first year. So interesting there, but he'll have some work to do come heat race time.
Hoffman's qualifying time 4th quickest at a 21:39.
Vince, this is a driver and a team that had a lot of work to do after practice last night. He was involved in a crash down in turn 4, knocked the whole front end of that truck.
Oh, and the back end.
And now the back end's gone. Wendell Chavis, he's a dirt racer from Georgia and was really looking forward to this opportunity, and the team had a lot of work to do today to get ready, and darn, got away from him.
Looks like he got a little tight there on entry and picked the gas up. Just a little nervous there with the steering wheel. Kind of got the car or the truck unbalanced there and snapped around on exit. Quite a bit of damage there.
Now this team will be able to repair that truck, I think, and start that qualifying race. In fact, heck, let's just go ahead and finish this qualifying effort. What do you say?
Doesn't hurt to get a lap in here. You may be able to beat a couple guys here by the end of practice.
Some of the top 27 in speed would be locked in automatically for the race tonight.
Wendell hung with it. Going to get a lap in, like you said.
And Chavis ends up 5th quickest at a 21:97.
Check this out, Kyle. This is what you're looking for.
That's a dirt shot right there. Right rear buried in the cushion and left front off the ground. So that'd make a good hero card.
I love it. That to me, Vince, that describes Eldora. That's why we come here to watch and why we love it so much.
Well, and Nick Hoffman is one that, hey, what, he can get around this place. I think he's one you're going to have to watch tonight. He's won here a lot in the late model and the modifieds. We talked about the fact he set up Matt Crafton's truck last year, helped set up that truck, and this guy can get around Eldora, that's for sure. Another one that's pretty good here is John Hunter Nemechek. Let's check in.
Yes, we are, Vince. We're with John Hunter and his dad, Joe. Joe's a legend. So we're watching these guys run into the wall and keep going. Now, your dad's a great mechanic. Have both of you took full advantage of the NASCAR rules? They said you can really beef the right side of these trucks up. Who beefed this truck up, you or you?
He beefed it up. I just bounced it off the fence once or twice yesterday. So we had to do a little repairs overnight, but I'm amazed at how slick this track has gotten today.
Joe, you said you were amazed how quick it got dry like this. You know, dirt is meant to be run at night, so it is amazing.
It is. It's just, I mean, it wasn't long ago. It was kind of a mud hole out there, and now it's just dried, very, very dry slick. But, yeah, we put all the extra bars in we can because you know they're going to get up against it, and we do all we can to the problem is when you put all those bars in, when he hits it, it knocks the clip off.
Okay, it's hard to do this interview because they're thrill-seeking on the racetrack. Kyle, it's getting crazy out there.
It is out here. Chris Wyndham, he's got a lot of laps around this place. He's got a nice, interesting line there, big entry into one, and able to turn down the hill, kind of shorten the back straightaway up. This place gets so slick off the 2 and all the way down the backstretch. If you can get that straight run off like he is and, get a good lap, man, this place is slowing down fast. So we'll just continue to see the track get slicker and slicker and times drop off.
Wyndham familiar with winning here at Eldora. He's got 6 wins here. Former USAC Silver Crown and former USAC Sprint Car champion. Right now, Logan Seavey is the fastest qualifier to 2094, but we got a long way to go. Back here at Eldora, NASCAR Camping World Truck Series qualifying. Looking at the 33 of Braden Mitchell from Russellville, Alabama, making his Truck Series debut. Spun around on his first lap and will look to post time here with his second lap. Everybody chasing Logan Seavey, who ran a 20.94 on his first lap and then followed it up with a 20.75. That's his fastest lap, and that's the time that everybody's chasing. But Kyle, the way the track is going, you think Seavey is safe for the fast time here in qualifying?
Yeah, I think Logan Seavey's pretty safe there. Watching Chris Wyndham go out, I thought his lap looked pretty good. I thought his truck looked nice, and he's 3/10 off the pace. So it's just going to be tough to beat Logan.
As we look at the 4 of Todd Gilliland and go down to Christopher Bell. It's your old truck, Chris.
Yeah, guys, I'm down here with your current quick time qualifier, Logan Seavey. Logan, you're on top of the board right now. You went out early. Do you think you got everything out of it?
I actually don't. I feel like I missed a little bit down there at 3 and 4. I let the truck step out on me both laps, and I feel like I lost a little bit of speed, but overall, really happy with my truck. Mike Hillman brought me an awesome racetrack to come run on the dirt here, and obviously going out early helped. We can see it's already fallen off. I think it's going to be tough to beat that lap with the racetrack conditions, but I'm really happy.
That's good. Back to you guys in the booth.
Watching Gilliland, a driver that doesn't have a lot of truck experience, but looked pretty good in those 2 practice sessions yesterday.
Talking to Todd down in the garage, Vince, and he said he and his father went dirt track testing in a late model stock car somewhere up in Virginia, and both of them got a lot of track time and a few spins, and maybe even a bounce or 2 off the wall. So they should be really warmed up and ready to go here at Eldora. Hermie, what's happening on your end of the stick down there?
Got Chris Wyndham watching the monitor right now, 5th. What are you looking at when you see the racetrack, and where do you think you'll end up?
I think it's a decent time. We tightened the truck up just a little too much. Track's pretty tricky right now. It's got good moisture getting in, and then it's just really slick on exit. But it's probably going to keep getting worse here. So hopefully it'll put us in a good position for these heat races.
Next.
You've raced a lot against Chris, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. Not as much lately, but but 2011 and 12, I raced with Chris quite a bit. Locally throughout Indiana with the non-wing sprint car stuff, a little bit of midget stuff here and there, and then, Chili Bowl every year. So really good friends with Chris, gone on a couple vacations with him. We all call him Big Daddy, so look for Big Daddy to be pounding the fence here later tonight.
Don't you know that'll be the case, though? Wyndham's going to have a chance to win this race tonight, and that's what I love so much about Eldora. Guys that we haven't heard of on the national stage get a chance to do what you did back in 2011 and do something special and get their name thrown around in the Monster Energy Cup garage.
Yeah, no doubt. I think that's why you see a lot of these guys that come in and don't have any truck experience but know that they can compete at Eldora. And if they win, you never know what kind of opportunities will present themselves. So a big field of dirt racers, a lot of drivers you've never heard about, drivers I've never heard about, but we'll all know who they are by the end of the night.
Justin Fontaine, 7th quickest of the 11 to go so far. And Christopher Bell, that's a good viewing spot right there. What are you looking for?
Well, I'm down here with a bunch of the drivers. This is it seems to be a really good place to watch qualifying and learn. I'm down here with Brett. Brett, you got the iRacing colors on today. Were you able to use iRacing to tune up for this weekend?
Yeah, I think so. It was certainly a help running some iRacing here at Eldora. I've never been here before, and I haven't raced dirt in a few years, so it was a good benefit of ours. And right now you're surrounded by a lot of uncertain drivers. We're all trying to figure out where to go. Track's really slick, and we'll see what happens here.
So you go out later in qualifying. Do you have an idea where you're going to run?
I have no idea. It's looking like the top. We were terrible on the bottom yesterday, so just kind of commit to something and try to run it as hard as we can.
So Chase, we're down here. You got a new ride for this weekend driving for ThorSport. I was talking to you a little bit. You said you didn't get out there early, so your practice speed wasn't very good yesterday, but do you think you got a truck that can compete for the win?
Yeah, yesterday we were pretty tight, and I told him to free it up, not thinking it was going to be this slick, so I don't really know what we got. We're going out super late, so I'm hoping it either rubbers up or rain comes because we're going to need a little bit of help. But, just thankful that Ford gave me this opportunity. This is obviously, as you know, one of the most fun races of the year. So we'll see what we got tonight.
Well, from a fan standpoint, we really don't want to see any rubber. So back to you guys up in the booth.
And I don't think we're going to see any rain either, so I think he's out of luck.
That's a nice grid walk there by Sebo, wasn't it?
Yeah, he did a good job. Yeah. You get a little out of control on yours, so anything might be a little better than you might.
There's Dalton Sargent in the 25.
Are we really going to start like that, Kyle?
Hey, he was talking to Chase Briscoe, and Briscoe really got his start on something you were involved with the Peak Challenge, right?
Yeah, Stock Car Dream Challenge. There's a lot of kids that came through there. You could recognize all the talent they had, and they went off after that and raced different forms of racing, and now a few years later, Vince, there's a lot of them that have surfaced again and are doing really well. So we could recognize, me and Clint Boyer judged it, and we could really recognize the talent that those guys had, and it's great to see them getting opportunities all across the motorsports.
Well, Chase Briscoe's family is, of course, deep in racing. His dad, Kevin, was an outstanding sprint car racer, and his grandfather, Richard, owned race cars. Guys like Jack Hewitt drove for him. Dave Blaney, Steve Kinzer. So some greats, some of the greatest driven for the Briscoe family. Let's go back downstairs. Hermie? Kenny?
I am with the high side tickler. It's Kyle Strickler. Kyle is one of the best. He's a champion in IMCA and UMP, won 100 races. The question is, why did you choose such a small steering wheel?
Max Pappas makes awesome wheels, and he does that all for my dirt stuff too. But funny thing about dirt racers, we run our wheels upside down, so Max didn't mess up by putting this pad on here upside down. That's just the way I run it. I like to have big openings here for my hands and a smaller steering wheel to make it drive more like my dirt car so I can stay up on the wheel.
All right, there he is. Kyle, what do you think about steering wheels? What do you prefer when you ran the trucks here in one?
Well, I don't really remember what I ran for the truck. It's something standard, I think. I think I might run I don't know, I feel like smaller, maybe 13-inch. When I'm still a small guy, but when I started racing sprint cars, I was 14. I don't even think I weighed 100 pounds. Brad Sweet gave me a 17-inch steering wheel. So that's what I used for, up until probably 2012. I switched to a smaller, more standard stuff in that, which is a 15-inch. So my little puny arms needed something big that I didn't have to turn very much with.
There's Noah Gregson bringing it back in after his qualifying lap, 6th fastest so far. Hermie?
Todd Gilliland 4th, and the dirt experts on the broadcast say you'll probably end up in the top 5 because of track conditions. So how would you assess that lap and your expectations for tonight?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's decent. I mean, we beat some of the guys that went ahead of us at a better track, so the track is just there's zero grip right now. So, you know, hope they do something for the race. They're the experts here, so you know, we're just going to drive it the best I can. Hopefully, you know, not try and get too much and put it in the wall. So, I think we actually have a really good JBL Sirius XM Toyota Tundra for tonight's race, and like I said, just gonna be about being smart.
Thanks, Hermie. Looking at the 98 of Grant Infinger, finishing up his qualifying run. He finished 4th here last year.
And Vince, he cracked the top 5. He was 4th on the first lap, 3rd in the second, and that could be a sign, Kyle, that this track might be coming around for those guys going later.
It's going to be fun. You got plenty more left to come here from Eldora. Norm Benning on his qualifying attempts. During commercial break, the 74 of Trevor Collins posted the 8th quickest time, and there's Norm taking the checkered flag. Sits 14th.
Something I'm seeing is everybody, you know, has kind of gave up on the top here for a little while. You know, there's been a strip of darker dirt around the inside wall that they're, you know, trying to use up here to get any bit of traction that they can. And you saw, I think it was Infinger go out and go 3rd quick down there. So now everybody's started to move down. We'll see how long that lasts before they move up. I think 1 and 2 we'll see guys creep back up there, but 3 and 4 might hang around for a little while.
Now, how much does the driver take it upon himself to figure that out, or do you listen to your crew chief? Into the outside wall. Hard. But he'll keep going. We saw Wendell Chavis do that same thing and finish his effort. So Hoffman will try to do better on lap 2.
I'm going to say he runs the bottom in 1 and 2 here this next time.
That banging it off the wall can send you to the bottom in a hurry, wasn't it?
How much does that knock some wind out of your sails when you do that, Kyle? Even if it's just a minor scratch, you kind of get a little more conservative?
Well, for sure it kills your confidence, you know. You know you just murdered your first lap, and you know you have to get something, you know, solid in, you know, safely in for your second lap, just to, you know, help your heat race lineup. But yeah, you never want to get in the wall in qualifying or make any sort of, you know, mistake or anything like that, because it really hurts your confidence.
Hoffman's run here a couple of times before, finished 19th and 11th. Christopher Bell watching, saying, it's not good. It's not good. Cody Coughlin, 13th.
I think you might also start seeing guys, you know, start playing with 3rd gear potentially. You know, if the track gets so short around the bottom, you can really use that RPM to help, you know, decel as well as accelerate off the corners. So, you know, maybe we get some in-car here soon. We can hear some RPM to see if these guys are playing around with gears.
Here's last week's winner in Kentucky, Ben Rhodes, and as we watch Rhodes, we'll check in with Christopher.
Well, guys, I'm with Nick Hoffman here. This is his first time running a truck at Eldora, but I remember coming to a tire test here. You were driver coaching Matt Crafton. So is there anything that you can take from modified racing and apply it here in a truck tonight?
Yeah, I mean, just obviously being able to watch it from a perspective of standing on the tower and stuff, and seeing how Matt drove, and I kind of know how he drives with racing with him a bunch. So trying to take that knowledge and then now put it to use as a driver. So pretty fun. We've been pretty decent last night, but just driver error there in qualifying. I've never dealt with a kill switch on the steering wheel before, and I drove through 1 and 2, and I was backsteered so far I hit it with my wrist and killed the truck, and that killed my first lap, then made me frustrated, and I just blew my second lap. So we'll race pretty decent, I think.
Cool. Good to hear that. Back up to you guys.
Well, and while we were listening to Nick Hoffman, Ben Rhodes, you saw him spin, but that was only after his first lap, was the fastest of all the qualifiers so far. Rhodes up there with a 20.73.
A little bit of tough news for Logan Seavey. We had already rewarded him a pretty confident awarding of the pole, but that's not to be the case. And man, Rhodes was way down on the inside next to the wall. How close can you get to that inside wall and still keep your speed up, Kyle?
Well, yeah, you know, it's tough running the inside wall here because the wall kind of obstructs your vision, and when you get down, really close to it. So, I noticed Ben, it opened his entry up just a little bit, to get his left sides in the moisture, and then was able to apex it really nice. Exit of 4, get a nice straight run to the start-finish line. So, heck of a lap there by Ben. We said I didn't think Logan would get beat there. So there's definitely some meat left in on the bottom, and some good drivers come up too that might give Ben a shot.
There's Kyle Strickler. And
definitely sounded like he was running third gear.
14
unless he just had a lot of wheel spin there.
Heard from Strickler earlier as he chatted with Kenny Wallace. This is the truck that Bobby Pierce drove here at Eldora. So, of course, Pierce, former pole winner.
And just remember, if you win the pole, you're awarded the pole position reward. But we're lining up our qualifying races for later this evening, Vince. So if you're one of those guys that are frustrated about your qualifying effort, you can straighten all that out by having a good race truck and winning your qualifying racing, starting up in the top 5.
Yeah, that's the thing I love about qualifying races is it gives you an extra opportunity to move yourself forward up and starting for the race. So. Like we said, Matt Crafton's going out last, but he's not too upset because he knows he has another shot to pass some cars, start further forward up front, and probably get some stage points later.
Well, this track is really coming in nicely. That lap for Self in the 22 truck, he jumped inside the top 10, and they're starting to do just what you said earlier, right down in that darker dirt on the bottom, and really carrying some good momentum off the corner because of it.
Yeah, there you can see he was really smooth with his hands. I'm sure he was really smooth with his feet too. That's what it takes to run the bottom. Anywhere really is a lot of finesse. So as this place gets slicker, they'll keep finessing it more.
Here's Stuart Friesen. Let's listen as he gets on it for his qualifying run.
He did get to 4th there. We'll see if he stays in 4th.
See him reach up there and adjust the brakes, it looked like, on that truck.
Maybe add a little bit of rear brake to help free him up, or maybe even front brake there to tighten his entry up. He looks a little bit loose, but I'm sure everybody is right now.
Talk about not being able to see around the corner. There's that inside wall. He has no idea really where to point.
Not only the wall, but man, the sun gets so bad here through 3 and 4, and even worse when it starts getting into race conditions. You're dealing with dust and the sun. You can see this is really bad view in front of him.
5th quickest on lap 1.
Look how low he gets. That's the lowest we've seen.
Friesen stays there in the 5th spot. 20:93 his fast time. And as Michael indicated a few moments ago, the fastest qualifier is the pole winner, but doesn't necessarily start first in the feature. The top 5 qualifiers will each start on pole position of their individual qualifying race. So setting the lineups for the qualifying races with this qualifying session here. As you look at Ryan Newman go out, we'll check in downstairs.
When I think of the Truck Series, I think of Johnny Sauter, Matt Crafton, the legends like Ron Hornaday. You have quickly become a legend. and you're a good study. We were sitting here watching that in-car camera with Stuart Friesen. As a racer, did you learn anything? You reached up there and adjusted a brake.
Well, I can tell you this much. I've relied on Stuart a lot this weekend. Obviously, he's a teammate of ours, and but my hands are not coming off the wheel. For
Why?
Because there's just, you have to know your limitations, and I know my limitations on dirt. So I'm just going to go out there and make the best of it. Obviously, I felt like with the late draws we had, the bottom was going to be the preferred groove. So I'm glad to see everybody going down there, because that was kind of my strategy from the word go.
All right, Johnny Sauter, he says he has an okay time here, Kyle.
I had the privilege of being Johnny's teammate the year I won when I was at GMS there, and it was cool, to feel like I was the driver coach, I guess you could say, there at the team. having a veteran like Johnny Sauter really leaning on you and asking questions was an odd spot to be in, but it was really cool.
Yeah, he's great on the pavement, but not so comfortable on the dirt. His average finish here is 19th. Qualifying continuing here at Eldora, and yeah, when they're slinging the dirt around, sometimes you got to put the goggles on to protect the eyes, and of course with Noah Gragson, that just may be normal wear for him and his personality. Got the hat working, the eye protection, as Brett Moffitt finishes up his qualifying run, and not bad, 11th quickest.
Yeah, I think we're starting to see the bottom, finally slow down a little bit here. We saw Newman play around at the top on his first lap, and then trying to run the bottom his second lap. A little bit quicker, pretty equal laps, but a little bit quicker his first time by running the top. So, I'd like to see somebody maybe try, running the wall there in 1 and 2, and then get into the bottom of 3 and 4. I really feel like the bottom of 3 and 4 is the place to be, but not quite sold on the bottom of 1 and 2 right now.
Here's J.R. Hefner in the 15. Also, while in commercial break, I want to note that Myatt Snyder, who was fastest in practice yesterday, qualified during commercial. He was 14th fastest overall.
Talking with these guys down in the garage area, and they were really comfortable with their long run speed, so they didn't really know how well they would have a single lap for speed, but the truck just hung on really well, and evidence of that was he was in the top 10 of all the drivers that did longer runs. He was 6 or 7, so that's a good pace for him. He's qualified, JR has, in the 21st position.
Hefner won his qualifying race here a couple of years ago, 2016, the year you won the Golden Shovel. Where do you have that displayed at the house?
Man, I actually think it's still at the Chip Ganassi Racing Shop at my PR guy's desk. I need to take it home to get a glass case for it. I'm building the shop, so once I get the shop done, I'm going to get some of my cool trophies there, and the shovel is definitely one of the cooler ones I've got, so I need to get it displayed nicely.
Watching Tanner Thorson in the 20. We'll check in with Christopher Bell.
Well, I've got Grant Infinger down here in the infield, and you ran a really good lap there in qualifying. You've had some success on the dirt miles in the ARCA car. How does this relate to the dirt mile racing with the ARCA series?
Really, the ARCA car on the dirt compared to the truck is very, very similar, but the tracks are completely different. So in the ARCA series, it's a 1 mile flat, basically a horse track, and you hug the guardrail. Eldora's obviously got a good bit of banking. You can run the cushion if the track gets that way. So that's the biggest difference there. But yeah, I think we got a pretty good Protect the Harvest Ford F-150. Decent qualifying. Hopefully we got a decent starting spot for the heat race. But I definitely need to pick your brain after this. I need to know what to do for the feature.
Sounds good. Back to you guys.
After Matt Crafton ran his modified at Toledo over the weekend, he ran there Friday and Saturday after the feature. Infinger got in and took about 20 or 30 laps. Got a little more feel for the dirt in the modified there at Toledo.
It's got to help his timing, though, right? Kyle hadn't been on a dirt track in a long time, just to understand how the wheels are going to spin, even if it's a different type of vehicle. It had to help him a bit, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think it's a totally different race car. Probably, I've never driven a dirt modified, but I would assume it's probably a different driving style even compared to this. But just getting used to that feel of being sideways, getting your wheels spin up, trying to catch different parts of the racetrack that have moisture. It can be tricky, but nice getting any experience you can.
Tanner Thorson in the 20 finishing up his run. Ben Rhodes fastest so far. Watching Ty Dillon on track in the 12 truck here at Eldora. NASCAR Camping World Truck Series qualifying. Mike Harmon went out just prior to Dillon. And Harmon ended up 28th, has now dropped back a spot as Ty Dillon has gone a little quicker. 22:10 the first lap.
How cool was Dillon's day yesterday? He talked about earlier, he ran the Roval yesterday morning, and then he came here and hopped in a truck on the dirt. Those are pretty dynamically different facilities.
One
Kyle?
extreme to the other.
It doesn't get much different. So, yeah, that had to be hard to adjust coming from the Roval to the dirt track here at Eldora. Those two both are going to be, running a cup car there, racing a cup car there is going to be odd, but then racing a truck here at Eldora is just as odd. So, definitely interesting.
Well, Ty's got a lot of dirt experience. His father, Mike, he wanted both those boys, he and Austin both, to drive dirt as they were coming up, kids, wanting them to make sure they understood how to slide a vehicle sideways, and that was part of their training program. And Austin, of course, won this race, and now Ty wants his turn at it.
Yeah, I had the honor of running second Austin that year. That was a killer. But you know, the Dillon brothers are both great race car drivers all around. But you know, like you said, getting the start on dirt, I think that's a great avenue to you know, become a great race car driver. So yeah, I got to watch them race at Volusia for a couple of years there, and you know, it seemed like they ran first and second every night.
Here's Jinjo Cobb. Boy, this team really had to go through a lot just to get here. Their hauler on the way to the track broke down during the trip. Had to send out another truck to pick up the 10 truck and also the 0 that's driven by Ray Cicerelli. Barely able to make it here for a little bit of practice yesterday and to get through inspection. So they've been through a lot just to get to this opportunity to put the truck on the dirt. You see Jinjo's speed at 20, or time at a 22:55. Down to Kenny.
Thanks, Vince. The reason Ryan Newman is so great, and the reason he made it to NASCAR, because he was a USAC Silver Crown champion on dirt. You put this whole deal together with Jordan Anderson. We were amazed. You went to the shop. You were working on the truck. Did it take you back old school? Take a look at these pictures.
Yeah, I know that was last Sunday, and I never used to do that stuff. Even when I started, I always wanted it to be somebody else's responsibility. But we've got a mutual friend, Jordan Anderson, and I do, and Ginger Rust, and she helped put this together to have VRX and Moto Shield Pro on the truck, and that's actually Jordan when he was about, I think, I don't know, 11 years old.
That makes us feel older.
Qualifying Charlotte weekend, yeah. That makes me feel real. I think I've aged well. I think he's grown up.
Absolutely. So we watched the great Stuart Friesen, who won the big show about 2 weeks ago. We watched him come take the green flag, and he's already adjusting the brakes when you're coming to take the green flag. How did you know you needed a brake adjustment?
I just got a little tight there on the get-up lap, and just want a little more rear brake out of it.
So Kyle Larson is listening right now. You put rear brake in it because you said you wanted the rear end to come around so you could get down there and seek that grip on the bottom. Let's look at the replay. Watch your left hand.
It was either rear brake or lumbar support.
We caught you.
Yeah. No, it was good. You know, Benji Rhodes went out there and showed us that lane on the bottom, and you know, I just needed a little bit of rear brake to kind of get the car to rotate and roll off there. Thought the second lap was actually a little bit better, but is what it is, and we'll have a good look at the green flag in a heat race.
Kyle Larson, when you know a track is done for speed and a driver like this steps up and cuts a good lap, what do you think of that type of talent when he's got those adjustments on the inside? Have you ever had to adjust to try to get something out of your car that you know the track does not have?
Yeah, you know, I feel like I don't do a good job about adjusting my brake valve enough. But, you know, when racing the sprint car stuff, you know, last night at Lernerville, you know, the backstretch was really slick, and we have a wing adjuster, so, you know, you could yank the wing back a little bit to try and get some rear downforce. So there's things in all sorts of cars that you can do. You know, in the USAC stuff, you have shock adjusters. You know, you don't have much besides a brake lever or a brake adjuster, but it was definitely cool to see him grab a handful in the corner.
John Hunter Nemechek, 15th quickest. We saw Chase Briscoe go out. He's 17th on the chart. And last year's winner climbing in, getting ready to qualify. '18-year-old Max McLaughlin on track in that 38 as we continue qualifying here from Eldora.
Race against his daddy, Vince. Back in the Xfinity Series back today. Mike. Yes, sir. Mike Magic Shoes McLaughlin, and they call him Mike. Pretty solid nickname for the family, would you say?
21st. Quick. For McLaughlin.
18 years old.
There you go. There's Mike.
How about that? And he's straight there with
Raceway Park in Claremont, Indiana. Was some great racing at that racetrack through the years.
And I'd love to get back there and go to some race. That was one of my favorite tracks.
McLaughlin a winner. that night. Also won in the Busch Series a few times.
Yes, sir. You know what's great about that, Kyle, is I know it's a pavement track, but you run up against the wall. You can also try the slide job cut to the bottom. There's so much racing room with that racetrack.
Yeah, that's where I made my first USAC pavement start and was able to get good time in the midget and the sprint car. And maybe even the silver car, but the racing's so much fun. Like you said, you could race all the way down the apron and slide jobs on pavement. You'll hear Dale Jr. talk about slide jobs, but there's some definite slide jobs there at our
There's Johnny Sauter, the series points leader, as we're getting close to the end of qualifying here. Only 4 remaining after Sauter.
What do you think about Sauter, Vince? He just says, I don't really like this isn't my gig.
I talked to him down in the pit area earlier, and he said he's just going to go out and have fun. He said, I felt better in practice than I have in recent years, so he said he was taking a positive approach to it. 30th right now on the chart. A little bit unfair, though, when you look at how the track is changing. I mean, right now it just has that speed in it because all the moisture's sucked up from it. How about that track and what kind of conditions it is? Yeah,
Well, I migrated down here to the infield of turns 1 and 2, and looking at this thing, you can see the top of turn 1. There's a lot of crumbs up there, and they look fairly wet on the top. But as you get to the exit of turn number 2, it's really dusty. So there's definitely no grip there. I'd be interested to see if someone would do a big turn down and up in it in turn 1 on the top, and then turn down and hit off the bottom of turn number 2. So I feel like that'd be a pretty good lap.
See if anybody's listening. As you look at R.J. Otto Jr. He's won here in the modifieds before. Good looking truck.
That's liquid truck. Got that old look to it.
Tribute to Red Farmer. His buddy is Red's nephew. And so they talked about what we're going to put on the truck. RJ said, I want my truck to look cool at my debut. But man, they certainly accomplished that.
First lap, 29. Remember, these qualifying positions will set the lineups for our qualifying races yet to come. But Ben Rhodes, who is fastest so far, and if he stays at the top of the board, will be officially the pole winner. Doesn't mean he'll start from pole position in the race tonight, however. That will be determined by our qualifying races.
Get a nice trophy and continue the run he's been on. Got that big win in his home state. Winning in Kentucky, and now he's looking to grab a pole here.
Jeff Abbey next out in the 34 truck.
This one looks quite loose to me as well. That back really hanging out. He's so far hanging on to it.
Yeah, you can see the track's just got no grip out there. These guys are all struggling to find any bit of traction. They're still searching for the darker spots on the track. As they ran down there too, they really, shot some crumbs and dirtiness up through the middle. So I think that's why you haven't seen people move back up to the middle or the top, just because they can see the dust just really laying on the track, and they feel like if they go through there, they're just going to lose whatever the traction they have and they move it out.
Got no meat crumbs. That sounds like that after dinner in Walter Pound.
Because it doesn't sound like much of a meal meeting. At 28 during this qualifying effort.
We're watching these trucks slip and slide at an average speed of just over 85 miles an hour, and this is a great example of you can have great racing no matter how fast you're going. These trucks are going to put on one heck of a show tonight, and they could slow down and be going as slow as in the 60-mile-an-hour range, and that's going to be fun to watch.
There's Justin Haley in the 24, got his first career win a few weeks back at Gateway.
How cool was that move at the end? Wow, he just went for it on that restart. Went down in turn 1 and said, I hope it sticks, and it really didn't. But he's able to slide up and keep control of his truck and drive off of that first win.
You're not going to see it here just because of the fact that the track doesn't have any speed in it. I thought that Haley's truck looked pretty solid in practice yesterday. We'll see how he fares in the qualifying races.
I just always like to see who steps up and is able to do what Matt Crafton did a year ago and take down some of the dirt racing stars of America, and also be the best trucker behind the wheel of on the dirt. So there's going to be a lot of stories, a lot of folks, and you don't have to go very far to find guys looking for that upset. Logan Seavey, Tyler Triple, all off the top 30.
Here's their final qualifier of the evening, and it's last year's race winner, Matt Crafton.
Notice he took off out of the pit road there and went straight to the top to see whatever grip it might have had out there, being the last guy out. It lures you into trying some crazy stuff sometimes. We'll see what he does here.
Turning a lot of him. Does that wheel filter? Maybe left that thing in third gear. Can you tell? I know that was the key to his victory a year ago. He was able to run third gear better than the rest. Look at his hand over there. Is that up on the picture in third?
Yeah, he just gets to fourth gear. I'd say he's going to run the top now on 1 and 2. Trying to get some momentum there.
Look at that lap. Top 10 for Crafton. Whatever he did work.
Yeah.
Well, guys, what did I say? Top 1 and 2. Place to be.
Well, Christopher, he just dropped it down into third gear, coming off turn 4, grabbed fourth on the straightaway. I don't know how effective it was. It obviously was pretty fast in the top 10, but darn, that looked fun.
He had his hands full there.
That was a hell of a lap by Matt.
Yeah, when we see everyone else running in the 25th and beyond category at that stage, Matt Crafton puts it in the top 10 with a 9th quickest run. Well done, Matt Crafton. Well, the fastest qualifier of the bunch, the pole winner, is Ben Rhodes, and he's with Hermie.
Thank you, Vince. He'll have some work to do in the qualifying races to be able to start actually up front, but your team has been in that just have fun mode this entire weekend. So when you can have fun and be fast, can you follow that win up last week with another one here tonight?
If you asked me yesterday when we unloaded, it was no. We were really bad unloading, but these guys have worked their butts off to get this Carolina Nut Ford F-150 really quick for us today. We need a little bit more forward drive, but I was just having fun. I went out in the qualifying, no real expectations, just, we're in the playoffs, just have fun and see what it does, and I didn't like the high side at all, so I told the guys I was going to run the high side. First corner, not even running the first lap in 3 and 4. I was like, nope, bailed on it, went right to the bottom, and I liked it a lot down there. So hopefully we can find the grip again here in the heat race and stay out front the whole time.
You've got a couple races under your belt at this racetrack. What have you learned? What's the one thing that you need to do tonight to give yourself a chance?
Finish. I hadn't finished the last 2 races. I hadn't. And we had speed the first year. The second year was iffy. But I just didn't have the best understanding yet. And I feel like I'm finally starting to get an understanding of what you have to do here. And I talked to Tony a little bit on the way to the restrooms, and he gave me a little bit of insight as well. And I just need to finish. I mean, I'm in the playoffs now. I need stage wins and race wins to get the bonus points. That's what we're really worried about.
41, fastest qualifier, Vince.
Yeah, use that low line around the track. He was the 19th driver to take time, and it was the fast time. His second pole of the season, 4th of his career for Ben Rhodes. Matt Crafton was the last qualifier, did a nice job, top 10. Hey, everybody needs a good hat holder. Everybody's got a role to play. Nice responsibility. Christopher Bell is with Matt Crafton.
Well, Matt, you went out, you're the last car to attempt to take a time, and you ripped a hell of a lap, put it in the top 10. What made you decide to try the top in 1 and 2?
I've seen you and Larson do it for so long, so I had to try it. I just saw moisture enter the center of 1 and 2, and then the bottom went away. So I'm like, I'm going to try to at least carry some kind of roll to the center, and even if I have to stop coming off the corner, at least I was going to carry some kind of roll through the center of the corner. And then down here, I hit the wall coming to the green, so I knew I was in trouble there, so I knew I was going to have to park it on the bottom. But thing was really, really good last night. The track's definitely a lot different today, so hopefully this Menards Ford F-150 will be good tonight.
Cool. Back to you, Kenny.
My friend Noah Gregson is ready for dirt racing. He's got tear-offs on. But earlier, your team, about 5 minutes ago, your team started cheering. Why was your team so happy?
Because myself, Logan Seavey, and Todd Gilliland were all going to be in the same heat race until Crafton went out there, and luckily he beat me, so it split me up. I'm not in the same heat race as them two, so I was a little afraid. I thought I was going to tear him up in the heat race, but hey, I get to go racing with some other trucks. I'm going to be WFO in the future, wide, open. It's going to be a lot of fun, Herman.
He's long-winded like me, so he's saying he didn't want all his teammates to wreck in one heat race. Guys.
Well, there's a couple right there that sometimes words can't even describe. Qualifying complete here at Eldora. Ben Rhodes was the fastest, the pole winner, and that sets the lineups for all of our qualifying races, which are yet to come. 5 qualifying races, and you see 10 laps each. And the top 5 from each qualifying race will transfer to the feature, and this is how those lineups will shake out.
You want to start up in front, Vince, and minimize the chances of damaging your truck before the big feature, and you can see Ben Rhodes and Shelton Creed will roll off on the front row of the first race.
Logan Seavey.
Tanner Thorson starting at 8th. You know, he's a really talented racer. Got to pass some trucks here to get a transfer spot, so look for him to be aggressive.
Tyler Dipple, I'm going to be interested in watching him tonight. He's got a really fast DGR Crosley truck. He and Chris Wyndham, teammates on the front row there.
Grant Enfinger and Matt Crafton from Thor Sport. Front row of qualifying race number 4. Nick Hoffman in that one as well, as is points leader Johnny Sauter.
There's the favorite for tonight, and he's got Ryan Newman right beside him, a guy that ran 3rd here in the inaugural event.
Matt Crafton, been a long time since he won, a year in fact. Oh, what a beautiful evening at the Big E. Eldora, the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. Qualifying complete. Ben Rhodes was the fastest, the pole winner. But the fun really just getting ready to begin. The qualifying races at 7 o'clock tonight.
Kyle Larson, you're the expert around here. You watched qualifying. You heard about practice. Who's going to win this race tonight?
Man, I still think you have to look at Friesen as being the favorite. You know, going out fairly late there in qualifying and laying out a good lap to put him on the pole of this heat race was good. So he's having a good shot at it.
Vince, I sure liked what I saw out of Crafton. He adapted to the conditions, ran a different line, and ran the top 10 speed. He could be a guy that you have to beat again tonight.
We're going to get a little better understanding of who's good and who's not when we look at these qualifying races, which are coming your way at 7 o'clock. Don't miss it. Going to be fun here at Eldora. Coming up next, Speak for Yourself with Colin and Jason.